Hello, everybody. Welcome again, DG, with me, Papa Ian, on DFD. So, DFD problem. So, DFD is data flow diagrams. It's basically a way for you to describe to someone what needs to happen. So, there is a 9 rules of DFD, which is something that's quite simple. If you can remember them, that should be fine. Number one is very easy. You can only have 7, maximum 7. But the problem that you're gonna have in there is that what if the process is detailed? So that's where you go into DFD level. So you have level 0, which is the most basic and generic level, and then you have level 1, will become more detailed as well. So like for example, if you are in the restaurant, so the data flow diagram will show the waiter pushing through the order to the kitchen, and then the kitchen will send out um, um, it will send out the food. So that's one. But then the kitchen can be expanded again into a deeper detailed process as well. As well in the catching the order, we can also explain it into more detail. So you start with maximum 7, and then if you need to dig deeper, then you go into a deeper second level DFD, third level DFD. Now, every process must have at least one data flow in and one data flow out, because you're doing something, you have to consume something, and then you have to give out something. Just like if you're running, you consume food and then you give out energy. And then the data flow must be connected to at least one process, because if you are connecting people to people outside the process, then you really don't need to capture it in the data flow, because it's not going through your system as well. So for example, if you are a restaurant, and then if someone order you food, then yeah, that relates to you. But if the two people on the table start to share their food, you don't really care about that one, because that doesn't impact you. Similarly as well, every entity must connect to at least one process. So the entity need to provide something to a process before they can receive something in return. Data flow is only one direction. So if you have to do back and forth, then you need to have two data flows in there. Now, data flows labels describe information, not action, but also um, similar to number 9. So data flow describe what is being transferred, what is being migrated. For example, raw data or clean data or verified data. So it's always nouns. Data flow and data stores is the database is always noun. And then the process is actually verbs. You're doing things on the process. Validate, login, create order, something along that line. And then the process you numbered so that you can follow, okay, if someone comes to the process, what are the steps that they are following. So something that you just have to memorize it, but I've explained it, the concept. If you are needing more information, let me know. So the problem. So this is an example of data flow, and then we can continue to work on that one next time. Customer can make an order at the restaurant, order passed to the kitchen, customer is issued a receipt for the order, and report is generated for the restaurant manager to monitor daily inventory changes. So what we can say, okay, so customer can make an order, order gets passed, customer issue receipt for their order, and report generated for inventory changes. So the entity, you have 3 people. So customer, kitchen, and manager. So identify the nouns. So customer, kitchen, manager. Where is the manager? There you go. And then your data store, which is your database, is still noun as well. So let me change my color to red. So data store, you have inventory, you have in there, and then also got the receipt as well. Now, the process is that what we're doing. So this is in step by step. So this is process number 1. The waiter receive order. Process number 2, create receipt. Process number 3, you update the inventory. And process number 4, you produce the report. So in here, what we can do on the context level is that customer can make order at the restaurant. Customer can make order at the restaurant. Order get passed to the kitchen, and then so basically here customer, so they provide the order, so the noun, and this is level 0. So we don't know what's happening inside the system. So this is our entire system, level 0. So customer goes to the system goes send us the order to the kitchen. The systems also send the report to the manager, and then the system send a receipt back to the customer. So this is the whole food ordering system. Now, if we blow it up, then this is what's gonna happen. So this 0 is actually covering all of this. So if I can draw a box, I know it's not a box, but if I can draw a box, this is inside a level 0. So this level 0, it gets sort of open up and sort of inspected, and then you can actually see the process that's happening inside there. So what's happening here? So let me just delete this thing. So what's happening? Similar flow. So we go and we receive the order. Then the system will send the order to the kitchen. We don't worry about whatever the kitchen is doing. But because this is also receiving the order, it also have to send the number of inventory used to the inventory update. So we can basically say, well, we use like 100 grams of prawn. We use 2 package of rice. Or what we can also use as well in here is that we can just say, okay, I receive order here. I send you fried rice in here, and then this will update the inventory. So what this will do is that will say, okay, I need to update the inventory. So I need to reduce the prawn by 100 gram. I need to reduce the rice by 2 cups. So that's why it updated the database in here. Once they also receive order, it also generate a list of all the items. So food sold, goods sold, or and notice that some of them you can have the same item as well. So this one and that one still have the same information. But if the process is only sending the same information in and out, so if you say there is nothing else here, order and then process and then order, then this process is not necessarily required because you don't transform the data. But in this instance, it is possible and it is okay because whilst the order is being passed through the kitchen, we still transform the data to the inventory use and the goods sold. And that one generate a receipt that can be produced, and then that sends back to the customer. What we also have in here as well is that when it generates the receipt, it also records the information. So this one gets stored inside the receipt database. And once that one is done, then the manager come in. The manager doesn't actually provide anything. So if they don't provide anything, they normally trigger something. So if they only trigger something, you don't actually put manager request report, because in here the manager, if they trigger something, they directly click on the 4. So what you probably tempted to do is that you probably want to have a manager here, and then you can say report request, but that is incorrect. So if the manager or if the entity does not provide any data, they will trigger something on the system. So that's why when they trigger something in here, they click a button on the system that says generate report. So they click something which triggers process number 4, which then pull in information from inventory and pull in information from the sales and then create the receipt. So 9 process, include up to 9 process. I thought it was 7. Why do you say 9? Yeah, we only have 7 process. Why we say 9 here? So that will be an interesting question to ask. Like, why do we have 9 processes? So this is, so they say level 0. So this is the context level diagram. This is level 0. So we go to level 1. Basically what we're doing here is that we're taking this process number 1 and then we break it down for more details, because as you can see here, process 1, they have a lot of outputs. So we need to break it down. So what happened here is that we break it down in here. So you go receive order, then you have the order information, and then you format for the kitchen. So you have a proper order for the kitchen. But ideally, this food order here should be the same as here. Otherwise, we're gonna have a problem. Then in here, you have order information. Then in here, you can generate the inventory requirements, and then that goes to the inventory data. So that is also a problem, because this and that needs to be the same. Otherwise, we're gonna have a problem, because this is inventory data, then why is this inventory used? And then you have the order information here. You calculate the price for the and serve for the information. So that basically you calculate how much it's gonna cost the user. So I have no idea what we're going to do with this one, but let's play around with it. What our data flow diagram used for is to describe how the data is flowing in and out of the system, and also to describe what process are required. The components of DFD, you have the entity, you have the process, and you have the data store. So entities, process, data store. What are the 9 rules of making DFD? Yeah, just memorize this by heart. Print it, put it in your bathroom, memorize it, read it every day. I'm sure you remember. Can a table help you make DFD? Possibly. It is possibly this table helps you. So the input process output, the IPO, definitely will help you make DFD if you want to do it as well. The levels of data flow diagrams, we have context level, which is the system level. And then we got level 0, which is the first version of it. And then we got level 1. And then if the level 1 is not detailed enough, we can go to level 2. So 1.1.1. But generally, when you reach level 1, it's already detailed enough. Because remember, you just have to do a high-level version of it. You don't really write the code. And that is it. Data flow diagram in 12 minutes. 13 minutes. I'll see you on the next question.